welcome to the exciting conclusion of Falcon's Flight 15 presented by Innova. This is part of the Cold Garden Tour. And this coverage is brought to you by the patrons of Park Pro and the PDJ of Canada. Just a reminder, all of your PDJ registration money that goes in stays in Canada and supports Project here. I am joined once again by the man, Ben Loggains.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks for that introduction. Get some beautiful B-roll over the camping area here. And we're finishing up. This is our final 9. We see the area there where the practice is, and we'll see some awards there not too long after this round is done.
Yes, someone from this group or maybe the chase card will raise that Falcon trophy at the end of this 9 holes.
Hey, scores for this round. We see just on that front 9 alone, we see Casey putting down -4, Luke Levesque -3. Those are great numbers to keep this thing close. Luke doing his part to try to keep this thing interesting. EHO hanging out at -11, -1 for the round. We still have a lot of danger, possibilities here on this back 9.
Yeah, after seeing those scores, I would say that it's kind of a race for second place with how tight it is. Casey's stretching his lead. But these courses pull no punches and anything can happen. That said, this is one of the easier holes and maybe one of the most beautiful holes to throw on the course. Hole 10, 332 feet. Most guys will throw a putter mid-range on a slight turning line, just like the drone is flying here to nestle up to this basket. But it's not out of the ordinary to see some guys throw a forehand wide around that tree and try and skip up. The biggest danger here is being maybe pinched off to the left behind the bushy spruce tree or just a little too deep in the rough to get your putt.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see 2 forehands and 2 backhands if I'm guessing here. You see that green mid-range from EHO? Oh, what a beauty. It needs to sneak through that window, and it does. And now it needs to slow down. That's just how you draw it up.
Yeah, maybe looking to be a little bit wider around the tree, but the shape and everything was just fantastic.
This is Casey's preferred line. That's exactly how he wants to throw it, under the branches of that spruce tree.
Oh, wow. And the jingle's playing. We'll get to see it one more time here.
That's a dime.
Yeah, just ripped and committed.
Is this an A4, I think, from him?
It's not any of the other famous A's, so I'm guessing it must be, unless that's the A3 looking very bleached today.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he packs a white A4 and that bright yellow one, so that's pretty impressive. Okay, now we see Erik going to another backhand mid-range with some more height here. Tougher to control the angle, but it makes the gap a little bigger. And we see the struggle with the angle. Get him, he's still got a look. Circle 2.
Yep, circle 2, just a little overcommitted to getting that turn.
And Luke, was this a fairway driver playing for the skip under the spruce? Unlucky to stay right next to the trunk.
Yeah, that could be the hardest putt in the circle. Back.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have a window, but making a stance is going to be... Look at that. Ouch. Yeah, this is going to be a little treacherous to actually get in there to... But I think he'll have a window if he can, once he can make a stance. Oh, he can stand up in there, in fact.
He went to the left side, and it works out just fine.
Wow. Beautiful. Okay, nice job. So we got our first birdie on the scorecard on hole 10, after we didn't see any on this hole in round 1.
Yeah, very surprising.
Erik coming back at it. No! Wow, he deserved a birdie off of that drive.
Yeah, that's
probably
one
a little
you will
surprised to see how long that leaked. Well, good drive, Erik.
It did something weird. I didn't have a good.
Casey's drive not as beautiful to watch, I don't think, even though we got to see it twice. It's just maybe personal preference here, but more effective, I suppose, right? So it's not always about watching it float. Sometimes it's about just getting it on the ground beside the basket.
Yeah, it's the age-old proverb. They don't ask how, they ask how many. And the nice turning shot might be more beautiful to look at, but Casey going to his big guns and making it work.
Okay, hole 11. Another change now. No more over the top, dangerous shots trying to kill people on the green. Now we go underneath here. Triple Mando. And we will have a course official spot in the Mando because the angle of this Mando is a little tough to see from the tee. And then you got to somehow get it going back at the basket. Overstable mid-ranges or overstable anything that skips that can really get left hard at the end is definitely the play. I think a skip shot makes you feel a lot more comfortable about not missing the high element of the mandatory, and gets you to the left in the way that you need. Yeah. Any birdies, I think, though, we're going to see have to make some type of a putt. I don't think we're going to see too many park jobs. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. This hole was almost exclusively played over the top. And it's funny to say the Mando makes the hole be played as intended and significantly more difficult to get a circle hit, even if maybe the gap isn't the hardest one to hit on the course.
Yeah, the birdies are tougher, and certainly bogey is very much in play now.
I think the approach to the hole has changed entirely as well, where you don't see many players pushing the height that the Mando gives you. A lot of guys are going to that faster disc and throwing lower.
Okay, so we saw Casey not really make a play at the birdie, but then Luke missing the Mando is still going to give Casey an edge even without a good drive thrown. EHO, I couldn't tell if he got around the corner at all, but we didn't see a red flag from the spotter, so that's good news. Oh, and Erik Wiebe, this is sawn off badly. Hasn't missed the Mando, but maybe worse because he could still potentially miss the Mando on his next shot.
Yeah, I don't know if he's committing to a full-blown forehand roller here. Yeah, just something soft that gets out.
And he still can't really see the basket from there. That's going to probably need another forehand roller from where he's at.
Yeah, he's tight enough to the left side that'll be very, very challenging, and it's hard to know. Yeah, if you commit to the forehand roller or just try and get out into the open.
He should be able to get something from this. Yeah, that's well done. That was a great shot from EHO earlier as well. Don't want to skip over that. He threw that as well as he can. Okay, from the drop zone. Trying to run this in, you think?
That had enough pace where it's either he's trying to keep his form standardized and stay committed, or, yeah, maybe try and give those chains a scare.
Okay, Casey probably just looking to get the 3 here and maintain his edge, or even actually lengthen his edge now with Luke missing the Mando. Guy's not playing with a lot of stress right now. Must be nice.
No, it's a great way to lead a tournament. If you can drive the bus without having to take any unnecessary pressure on, it puts so much more pressure on the guys behind you.
Yeah, we did see earlier though on hole 9 and on hole 6, I want to say, we saw Luke put pressure on Casey, and he came up big with the putter to not let Luke tie him up or get strokes back. And so I think when the pressure was there, he answered the bell, and now he's kind of enjoying a little bit of relaxation from responding well. Oh my goodness.
That is criminal.
At the time when you least expect to see some drama.
As we're talking it up. My goodness.
Okay, so he's got to shake that off. The body language looks good here.
Bunching up. Makes good on the bogey. But it wasn't too much pace. It seemed to be in the middle. It wasn't too high. It's just one of those freak reactions.
Maybe it was Rudy. Looking for a little more drama. Says, you're not going to stretch this lead out just quite yet. Get to look at it here. Left side, maybe a little.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, wonderful. There's the beautiful tree squirrel, not one of those lame ground squirrels.
I guess we didn't really talk too much about the setting here at Aspen Meadows, but it is very rural and a very idyllic piece of nature.
Good footwork from the squirrel there.
Speaking of idyllic holes, hole 12, a 453-foot par 3. This one in the past has been a bit of a make par and go away hole, but they've softened up the OB lines a little bit, giving you more of a green light to try and run this green. The big mistakes here are to commit and end up in the swamp. Say hi to Yoda in Dagobah here, as it's affectionately known by the locals. A lot of people will try and lay up just short, pop over, walk away with a 3, and I think in a lead card situation that might be the case for our group today. But sure is a beautiful hole, super fun one. Putter layup works, go for it with the driver can work. A little bit of
I love the change. With Luke trailing by 3 here, this could be a spot where he looks to get aggressive. I mean, it's probably a little early. I mean, only being back 3, we have eagle opportunities coming up, so it might not really be the time. But you could see someone talking him. You could see him talking himself into it. Was Casey getting aggressive
going
there?
For it, but he hits a tree on the way down, and he'll be in a little bit of an awkward spot at the distance of a good layup.
Why do you think he's going for that there? Do you think he's feeling so comfortable that he's looking to have fun, or
he might be seeing that as long as you're past the pond, the OB rolling back into it or the OB on the backside is still going to give him a comfort zone putt for a 3, and he might as well give himself the chance for a 2.
Yeah, it's true. I guess if you go OB on the first throw, it's not as bad as going OB on the second.
These guys leaving him a little bit left. It's kind of surprising.
It's easy to do. It's kind of the lay of the land, slopes gently right to left. It just feels like this fairway kind of wants to pull you down to that side. He's got the angle to go for it here, and it looks like he is. Is it high enough?
Just too low. Man. And that
And
is the
love the
worst
line.
case scenario you're talking about. Being OB after 2 is significantly worse than being OB after 3. That OB off the tee is still within jump putt range for these players.
Well, you can go for it next time there for us then, Erik. Okay, this is a great spot here for EHO. This is the classic way to play it. That needs to nestle. And it does.
The OB being removed from the left side altogether really makes that hyzer a bit more comfortable.
Okay, this is a tricky shot. Short,
but safe.
Okay, stays in bounds. We've seen Casey go OB with that tomahawk in years past. But,
wow.
Oh my goodness.
It's like they moved the line just for him.
They drew that after he threw. Okay, wow, look at the spin on that.
A great effort.
No jump either. Hey, just all wrist.
Yeah, he's got some great snap and some great spin on his putt.
Okay, for the par. Again?
2 in a row.
So Casey generally unflappable, but you have to think he's flapped at this point.
You see his gums flapping, probably displaying his displeasure with that outcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a little bit of a cushion, but you can't have that happening too much. Okay, so will Luke be getting a stroke here? No.
Yes, that answers that.
An opportunity gone knocking there.
Yep. As a tournament, he's had a pretty good putting performance, but this round in particular, there's been a couple I think he'd want back.
Well, I guess they can both just tell themselves that it's the same thing as if they'd both made them and close the door on that one.
Yeah, thankfully not affecting the outcome. Although I will say Luke's was more of a miss than Casey's was.
Erik played the hole very well. EHO, yes. That is.
Yes, he took the standard game plan from years gone by and did it perfectly.
Which is tough to execute. You know, we talk about it like it's just, throw here, throw there, and get out of there. But it's not easy.
No, especially in the final 9 on Park Pro coverage.
And he's gotten himself into within 1 stroke of second place. Yeah. So battled back to even. We see Nick Culver at -4 for the round. He's got himself into 4th. So yeah, but a little bit of shuffling and movement here. No one making any huge runs. Nick Culver looks like the hot round of the day there. Making some money.
The battle for the podium is real.
Hole 13, par 5. Tight corridor. In general, for a right-handed backhand player, you've got to find some way to keep yourself off the right, keep your disc off the left edge without pulling it into the right. The stagger and the shape of this fairway makes it such that you need to get the disc out of your hand and off the left edge, and then you'll immediately want to pull it into the right. So some type of hyzer flip into this landing area, either on the first or the second shot. And then you got to make a decision because this green is very small. Any OB you find on the left side can result in not being able to advance if you don't find your disc passing over any inbounds at some point. Thankfully, there's lots of spotters, lots of volunteers all over this property, but on this hole in particular to help you make those rulings.
Yeah, probably
what a shot.
A soft to par hole in general, but that is also the thing that eggs you on to go for the green when you're out of position and make those unnecessary mistakes.
For sure. We could see an eagle here, and we could see a 10. It's not, neither of those things are even remotely out of the question. EHO hit the gap there, a little more height than he needed, but honestly, it does not matter. So you can make it down the main corridor, you're all but assured birdie with some smart play after that. Same with Casey there. Leaking out to the right is fine as long as you make it, 300 feet of advance is really all you need.
Yeah, the forehand shot puts you in a pocket on the right side that gives you sometimes maybe a better look towards the basket, but maybe shapes up a little bit worse for some hyzer type approaches.
Yeah, the other thing, the forehand there here has better vision of the fairway than the backhand because you're placing your hand in the center of the fairway. So it certainly has that advantage, and you're not feeling quite as crowded as you do with the backhand. Luke really needed that to get down the hill a little bit because he's going to have another decision to make if he's going to go for the birdie from there.
And he's running out of holes to catch up to Casey, and this is when you can fall into the trap of starting to force things.
Yeah, and if you're waiting for Casey Hanemayer to back up and give you a tournament, you might be waiting a long time. Doesn't really have a history of doing it.
Super smart play there.
Absolutely. We've
Anything
seen some other
around the root ball or the stump there is very routine.
Yeah, we've seen some less wise individuals in the past go for forehand roller from that exact spot. Okay, Casey just taking a little pitch. He could easily have gone for the eagle there. He was in great position, but knows he doesn't need to press, knows that birdies are not going to lose an event here for him. That needs to good ground play. Wow, what a shot.
Maybe not getting the skip he wanted, catching part of the stump, but the result is still putting him in scoring position.
Yeah, but thankfully he also didn't get the counter skip that possibly could have gotten. So all in all, a great result.
Perfect
so that's going to be for
approach.
birdie there, right? For EHO?
I believe so, yeah.
Casey, another no stress hole. I'm probably not going to get a spin out from there. Okay, Luke needs this one, and he gets it. That's awesome. So not his best stuff. The first two shots left a little to be desired, but then a great upshot and a great putt and makes birdie.
They do seem to give you a free stroke on this hole, being a par 4, especially relative to the difficulty of the rest of the course. Making it a par 5 definitely might be part of the mental challenge, that eagle just tickling your brain, asking you to make a mistake that's uncalled for.
Yeah, you see the hole there, 599 feet. We see this approach shot again here, but 599, that's 125 feet per throw, so you could feasibly make a par by jump putting 5 times, as long as you made the last one.
No jump needed for Luke on that, but that looked great.
Don't check my math on the 125.
I wouldn't dare. Now, onto a 425-foot par 3 with a tight snaking fairway. Hole 14, you'll see many players go up and over the right side here, trying to crash down just at this next choke where we're passing this spruce tree. It is possible to throw a turning perfect forehand and get to the front of the circle's edge, or the most understable hyzer flip over shot. But I suspect that this group will be mostly playing the hyzer and potentially a forehand from Casey.
Yeah, I'd say likely we're going to see the forehand from Luke as well. He definitely has the power and he needs the strokes. So it's a tough course to protect a lead on, but it's also a tough course to be pressing on.
Yep. Erik throwing perfectly to that choke point we mentioned.
Yeah, I think that's the play. If you're not needing to having to get a stroke at this point in the round, I think that's the way to do it. And I think even if you are needing strokes, I think it still pays to just play it straight.
Casey throwing the hyzer, in retrospect, definitely the safer play. Luke looking to match him here.
Yeah, we've seen Casey throw the big forehand in this hole in years past when he was trailing, but not here. So Luke going for it with the backhand. I don't know. Gonna need some luck.
Yep, catches the tree, stops him from skipping into the rough on the other side of the fairway. Did look a little low out of his hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had an aggressive run-up. Like, I think he was going for the 2, but ends up, effectively just playing for the par. That's a little tricky from that side where Erik Wiebe has just landed.
Yeah, that'll take a very, very particular shot.
And that's ideal from Casey. You're getting just a master class in how to play this without stress. Well done from Erik. We're going pancake here. We'll turn over. Flop it down. Easy peasy. Makeable. And he needs it.
He puts it up there just a little early coming out.
Oh, no.
And now this is the challenge.
That's an impossible putt from there. If you've been here, you know that side, the way the branches stack up here, well, maybe he's far enough to the right. Yeah, that's the price you pay.
And
not a bad bid, but
not a gimme on the second comebacker.
No, so now he's looking at giving up at least a tie and possibly giving up second place to EHO. Okay, stops the bleeding there, so we got a tie at minus 11. Yeah, Luke Levesque's played a great tournament to this point.
I can't fault him for going for those putts. You need to make something happen if you truly want to chase down that lead. This being the finale of the 5th to last hole with 4 strokes to make up.
For sure. Smooth looking swing, a little handcuffed at the end. Looking into the sun. Umbrellas out.
This tournament consistently has fantastic weather. There's not a place on earth you would rather be than Aspen Meadows for your Labor Day weekend.
Absolutely. Okay, so another hole. This one plays along the same fence line that we saw from hole 9. And as well here, they shaved up the branches on the left to allow you the opportunity to get that disc OB even easier. The OB much, much tighter to the basket, so even if you don't have a good drive, you still got to worry about that OB even with shorter approaches and putts even. So a lot of pressure here, similarly to the par 5 we played 2 holes ago, 13, that feel a little handcuffed off the tee because this tree line is very close off your left hand. So we could possibly see some forehands just to get some relief off that left edge. But yeah, aceable and possible to take a 5 or a 6 on as well.
And that is how you want to do it.
Yeah, slightly overturned, but I think that's by design to keep that disc from having any temptation to leak OB.
Erik might have made himself a unique challenge at the pace of his putt. He needs to be worried about putting at that fence line and potentially going OB if he misses one.
Yeah, Casey going to the mid-range forehand there to take all the OB worries out of play, but Got 2/3 of the way up the fairway, and man, this is the mistake. So hard. Those trees just, it feels like a, you know, the coin machine they used to have at the grocery stores where you could drop a coin in the big vortex and watch it wind down. Just feels like these trees have a special kind of gravity just waiting to pull anything that gets close in.
Luke early releases his forehand. You can see the frustration mounting as he reacts pretty strongly there, jumping. And this is another challenge that Erik Wiebe has. You get your 2 meters off, but there's some pretty bad lies halfway up the fairway.
Yeah, for certain. He does well there, though. Okay, Luke needs to be careful not to let this hyzer under the fence, because this can get left in a hurry. Ooh, and he overcorrects. It's understandable. Probably going to be able to clean up the par still, but...
Yeah, thankfully it looks like he went deep enough to be on the backside of the trees.
Casey under no stress at all again. Just taking up another par. Can I maintain a 4-stroke lead? Ooh, unless Erik could make that. That was an opportunity to cut in to Casey's lead and get within 3, but instead, it's going to be a birdogey.
Yeah, as I was talking about, his very direct putting style does bring in these long comebacker issues, and now pushing him OB, it's a more important stroke than it might have seemed, because now that opens the door for Luke to stay ahead of him.
For sure. They were tied coming into this one. So yeah, it gives that stroke back, and yeah, you knew it as soon as you saw where he landed, Jesse, and you were thinking about the way that he putts. You knew that would be a factor.
It just seems like when you're aware of your own faults, let's say, or style, it's creeping into his head as well. And that's when you make those errors.
Oh, and look, you see the look on his face.
That was off the tee.
That was from the tee, so maybe he was thinking what you were thinking. It was a well-thrown shot, though.
One final look at our scoreboard now. Casey 4 up on Luke and just 1 over EHO. Nick Culver has managed to sneak his way into a tie for 4th, and Noah Higgins back in the mix at 4 down with an even round.
Yeah, we got a lot of folks that can make a play at 4th there. 4-way run at 4th.
There's a lot of money at this event, and all those placements, every single stroke matters for those guys. Hole 16, one of my favorite holes on the course, 475-foot par 4. There are a couple plays you can do. One is to just try and gas it to the green. It's not too big an ask for the power we have, but many players will lay up to where our fans are standing on the drone flyover and then pitch up their second one. The big dangers on this are to get into the rough early or push the dangerous OB line at the back on your second shot. The OB line is tight and the green slopes away, making rollaways quite prevalent. The green's also protected by these beautiful aspen trees, meaning you can have some fun putts on this dance floor.
Yeah, well said, Jesse. Yeah, this hole just reminds me of, just the quintessential Aspen Meadows hole. The corridor, and there's some little character with the boneyard. This is kind of what this place is all about. You can see the work that the volunteers have put in. While these guys are throwing, I'll just take the time to say I would guess that a lot of our viewership here has been to Aspen Meadows and maybe played in the tournament, but I don't know if you're finding us on YouTube and you've never been out here and you're not familiar with this course. This is absolutely a destination tournament as a player of any skill level, and even as a volunteer. Like, this is a spot where if you're someone who likes to volunteer for things, this would be absolutely a place that you could fly out to and really, really have a good time getting involved volunteering here.
Absolutely. There's a lot of times and places I talk about that have disc golf magic, that place where you made your first big putt, that place you played your first round, and Aspen Meadows oozes that disc golf magic. It never gets old. I've been here half a dozen times, and when you open that gate and come onto the property, you still feel it.
Decent drive so far. Little tug. This could bounce out. Are we going to see it?
unfortunate for him to kick in with the shape of that shot. It looks like, yeah, it's just a putt back to the center of the fairway. Take your medicine and move on.
Okay, now he needs this. This needs to be good to save the par. And it looks very good.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
Dropping dimes in the headwind. Another nade. The human grenado.
They call him Nuke Levesque because he's throwing grenades and dropping bombs.
I think it's the right selection for the situation. The headwind is going to make that flip quicker and get right sooner.
Our spotter's going for a run, but we didn't see that OB graphic. He might have a long putt from inbounds right.
Yeah, so there's headwind on that shot, and I think that's helping him there because it flips it right quicker and then, keeps it from going straight. If he'd had tailwind there, I think it'd been impossible not to let it go OB out the back. This needs to sit down. Wow. Little backboard from the Aspen.
Yeah, you always worry about coming in with any sort of hyzer or any edge on the slope edge of the hill.
Beautiful angle control there from EHO. Okay, for the birdie. Okay, concedes the par. And possibly that's going to see a tie again for second. With 2 to play.
There aren't any holes with big number potential coming up, so that is probably the end of the battle for Luke and Casey, and now the heat of the battle for Luke and EHO.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hard to imagine Casey doing worse than bogey on either of these last two, as you say. Clutch birdie there from EHO. Look at that drive. Just splits the absolute center of the fairway. And doesn't throw a disc that's too flippy. That's a temptation here, is to try to get your drive to finish to the right with something more understable, but he just throws as a neutral disc and allows it to fade and takes his birdie. Beautiful. 17. An absolute power hyzer dream shot. Very, very demanding on needing to use your imagination to both read the wind and pinpoint in your mind how far left this basket actually is. And then once you get it out there, the distance control is going to be absolutely perfect. Too deep, you're into the Aspens, which is for certain the better of the two outcomes, because that road is OB on the left, which is from the vantage point of the thrower is actually short, that road. So once you get up here around the corner, it can give you kind of the illusion that those Aspens are to the right and the road is left, but truthfully, from your angle that you're throwing, that's short and long. Fair assessment, Jesse?
Fair assessment, and not to mention the newly added drop zone, which is at max jump putt distance instead of taking the OB line if you happen to get one long enough that just scoots out.
Okay.
I didn't see that disc.
He's in the Aspens?
If that camera tracked it to there, that is actually a very good shot here.
Okay. Casey looking way up. The wind is helping this shot. Hopefully not too much. That looks great. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
inside
awesome.
the top 5% of shots you'd see on this hole.
Mm-hmm. Not getting it right to the basket, because then you leave yourself short of the Aspens a bit more. This looks decent from Luke. Needs to hurry. Really great.
Another fantastic drive. Really anything that finds the circle here is more than you could ask for.
Yeah, for sure. Really common to see, 50 feet short on this one. This is in danger of being short. Yeah.
Video bomb.
Yeah, it just needs that to push out a little longer. Okay. From that drop zone, smart play, just does a little pitch up. Gonna take him back to -5.
It is important to note how tight the OB gets to the basket. Any wayward jump putt has potential of going OB out the left side.
Miguel giving some love there, carrying the bag for Erik. Casey he's really not been under any stress this back nine.
Just not willing to overextend himself in any circumstance.
He's got his name on this basket. Luke, that was for solo second. Gets a hop off the cage with EHO underneath it. I think good chance it's going to come down to 18 for second place. Strong side, never a doubt. That's a good par putt. He knows he let that one go. Still a chance to take it on the last. Bogey for Wiebe. Good par from Erik. Par for Casey. Surprising not to see any birdies with how good of drives we saw from Casey and Luke.
Yeah, Luke obviously wants that putt back, and Casey doesn't want any chance at a band hit, roll away, anything that could cause any sort of drama coming into the final hole.
Yeah, at this point, Casey Hannemeyer's going to enjoy a leisurely walk down our 18th fairway. So yeah, barring a medical emergency of some kind on the big fella, we're going to see him crowned, what, 5-time Aspen Meadows champion?
It is something like that. Maybe 4, could be 5. And it'll all happen here at the end of 18. Just shy of 300 feet. You have to navigate this triple Mando and then nestle your disc in past the Aspens into the shaded knoll. This hole has Aspen Meadows written all over it. It's got the gaps, it's got the slopes, and if you see the basket to the left, all the history that this beautiful property has. There is probably not a lot of more iconic finishing holes in the entirety of Canadian disc golf. This is where champions are crowned, beers are drank, smiles are had, and memories are made.
Absolutely. Beautiful bit of iron work here on the top of the triple Mando. Second year with this triple Mando. Yeah, you always feel the feels of Rudy. There's certainly a few folks around here who maybe didn't get to know Rudy who are playing the event, but by and large, the majority of people who are on the grounds here, spectating, volunteering, playing, Rudy touched their lives in one way or another, and I don't think there's a spot you feel that more than on this last hole. I know for me, even when I'm not in contention, I still feel quite a bit of emotions coming down this last one.
It definitely an icon of Alberta disc golf. But EHO leaks his left, almost going OB in a place that doesn't come into play very often. He's left the door open for Luke.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to have a look from where he's at? I know there's a lot of rough over there, but I don't know if there are any windows for him to get lucky on. This looks like a buzz from Luke. It's a lot of disc for a guy with his amount of power.
Luke makes the same mistake with a worse kick and has gone OB. The tables have turned again.
Wow. You really don't see that happen much now. Like with the triple Mando here, you don't really see people going OB left.
I've never seen it in my own rounds ever before, and it couldn't come at a more critical time.
Okay, so wow.
Even Erik looks like he was close.
Yeah. Okay, a little forehand underneath. They're trying to get some intel from the gallery here about where Luke might have crossed it. I mean, you had to have thought it was a little farther up than that, but I don't know. He's probably trying to get a spot here that gives him some kind of a gap.
And now it's on Erik.
He knows he's lost a bit of money there. Yeah, so pressing, I think, so hard to try to put pressure on Casey maybe cost him some strokes. There's certainly a few areas where if he had conceded first place, he probably could have saved some strokes and locked up second. But, a lot of credit goes to EHO for capitalizing on that dynamic.
Absolutely. You can tell that Luke is if you're not first, you're last type of guy, and he stays true and pushes it to the very end.
What a finish. Casey, no need to lay it up and wait for the customary last putt. He's just going to pop it in, maybe save 5 points on the old rating there. Gets to minus 16. Pretty common area for the champion of this event to end up in. Somewhere in that, 14 to 16 range is pretty common. These guys hugging it out.
Yeah, great display of sportsmanship after what could have been a very frustrating final hole and a very tense round.
Miguel and Erik, I think, made the trip out together from the lower mainland. Happy
Now
for the
there's only
homies.
one thing left to do. Try and get service at Aspen Meadows.
That's right.
Oh, and be crowned champion.
The winner of Falcon's Flag
Yeah,
15,
absolutely.
Casey Hanemayer.
Beautiful. Exalted by the Patreons. Luke's already lost his shirt.
The Cranbrook boys have been doing really good at this tournament. Me and Ben kind of switch back and forth here. So, yeah, I'm just really happy that I can bring it home again. Playing with everybody this weekend was awesome. I did take pretty much a month off, and it helped me a lot. I was able to kind of focus and feel not tired coming to this tournament for the first time in a long time. So, yeah, no, it felt really good. As always, thank you, Rudy, for giving this gem. And yeah, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Prodigy, Limber Disc Golf, and Flex Zone, and Cold Garden Brewing. Thank you.
Right on. If you know Casey and you hear him, he gives a lot of victory speeches, and that's about as long as you'll ever hear him. He's not generally a man of a lot of words, but this event definitely special to him, and wanted to make sure that people know that he appreciates it.
Well, one last look at our scoreboard to see how things finished out. Nick, Culver, and Noah ran it in to stay tied at fourth to the finish. Josh and Erik Wiebe, after a bit of a slide, T6. Carver Whitford tied up with Coda Potsma and Jackson Pease to finish T8 to round out your top 10.
Those are great finishes for those guys. Finishing this event under par is, always an accomplishment.
One of the greatest accomplishments in disc golf is to walk out of 3 rounds at Aspen Meadows and be under par.
For sure. Yeah, I guess I'll say congrats to the big fella. Congrats to Casey on another title there, and congrats to all the people that make this tournament come together. Another win for the tournament organizers and volunteers out here. Hey, overall standings with that, we have a tie at the top. Cam Zed, by way of not showing up to this one, has allowed Casey to take a win and tie him up with 455 total points. How about that? Some drama coming down to the end of the season.
Yeah, still a couple events in the Canadian Disc Golf Tour to see who will be crowned the overall champion. Keep it locked to Park Pro to see all that action coming very soon. Thanks so much for watching. I've been Jesse my whole life and in this coverage.
I've been Ben. Jesse, it was great to do this with you.